Hello, my name is Jared Wilson. Welcome to my EDL 853 Module 12 case study. Dr. Harvey is a superintendent of Dover Unified School District. The district consists of 6 elementary schools, 2 middle schools, and 1 high school, servicing approximately 3,200 students. The school was built in the 1950s and utilizes trailers to house classrooms for some students. There have been updates to the school, but still roughly 1/4 of that school is still not ADA compliant. Miguel Hernandez and his family moved to Dover to participate in a highly successful program as well as a rigorous academic program. Everything is going to plan until Miguel is injured during a football game, leaving Miguel paralyzed from the waist down. Miguel returns to school with the ambition to finish his high school education before continuing on to college. Miguel and his parents met with Miss Gussman, the counselor, prior to returning to school to discuss how Miguel would return and any special accommodations he may need. Mr. and Mrs. Hernandez spoke to Miss Gussman about Miguel's use of a wheelchair and his drive to attend college. The day that Miguel returns to school, he is asked to meet with Miss Gussman prior to starting his first period class. Miss Gussman notifies Miguel that he will no longer be enrolled in biology class and he will be in another science class that meets his graduation requirements, but possibly not his college requirements. The next day, Mrs. Hernandez requests a meeting with the high school principal to discuss the situation. Ms. Hernandez explains that they have been notified of the schedule change and that he must be placed back in biology due to his need for college acceptance. Shortly after, Mr. Hernandez comes to the meeting accompanied by Howard Carey, the attorney representing Miguel and his family. Mr. Carey communicates with the principal of the potential legal trouble for violating Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act in 1973. So facts, when did it happen? During football season, during the school year, somewhere between Miguel's freshman year and prior to graduation. It says that he was a sophomore at one point, and it's kind of at the point where he is re-entering academic courses. Where did it take place? In the city of Dover, at Dover Unified School District. It was at a football game where he was injured. The meeting has taken place at the school as well as principal's office. Who's all involved? Dr. Harvey is the superintendent. There's a principal involved, Mrs. Gussman, Miguel, Mr. and Mrs. Hernandez, and Carrie Howard. Ethical and legal issues. The ethical issues behind this situation is that the student is being denied education due to appropriate access. It is detrimental to student well-being. There has been a lack of communication between the counselor and the parents, or the school and the parents, as far as what needs are not being met, how they can be met, and whether or not the school can accommodate that. There was no established communication on whether or not there was going to be a 504 or an IEP meeting, and that there was no IEP or 504 accommodations stated. Legal issues is that not meeting the needs of a 504 or IEP. So if those are in place, not meeting those. Not being able to provide adequate ADA access. No prior notice of schedule change. It was just kind of out of the blue that this would take place, and that a change in student academic without consent or knowledge to the student as well as the family. Injuries or harm. Miguel is injured during a football game, and the injury is life-altering, and not receiving prerequisite courses could affect college acceptance. Legal consequences. Violating Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act would be gigantic, and also the fact that only 1/4 of the school is still non-ADA compliant. So those are going to be huge legal consequences if they're not solved, if they are not if they're not able to find a way around that. No breach of contract. There were no indication of the breach of contract, but one concept that could be further argued legally is what is appropriate education. Is the school, and if the school meets that definition by providing different accessible courses. So arguing that Miguel can take other science courses rather than just the biology course, and that the school doesn't have to accommodate college courses, just the courses they need to graduate high school. So, in one sentence, Dover High School student Miguel Hernandez returns to school after a life-changing football injury that paralyzes Miguel from the waist down, and to discover that his current biology course cannot be continued due to a lack of wheelchair access. Going over the people involved, you have the superintendent, principal, Mrs. Guzman, Miguel, Mr. and Mr. Hernandez, and Carrie Howard. You have the program. It talks about Dover Unified School District. There's 6 elementary schools, 2 middle schools, 1 high school. That high school does have 3,200 students, where some of those students are housed in relocatable trailers. Program is public education. It's K-12 program, or a K-12 district. It has a successful football program. It has a rigorous academic program, and it does offer pre-college courses for students to take. To prioritize information. The situation impacts the student, the family, the teachers, administration, school board, and legal team. The outcome could potentially affect all stakeholders. And still, the stakeholders that need to be consulted are the school board, superintendent, the legal team, the 504, and the IAP team. And then it would directly affect Dover High School staff, Miguel and his family, Ms. Guzman, and the biology teacher and 504 team. I highlighted staff differently than Ms. Guzman and the biology teacher because first it will affect Ms. Guzman and biology teacher depending on what outcomes, what avenues are taken, but the staff as a whole will have to work together to collaborate with one another. So, can I learn more about the situation? Yes. First thing we can learn is how full is the school? Are they at total capacity? Are there open classrooms? What does that look like? What other options has Ms. Guzman covered prior to the meeting with Miguel? And then is there any government programs available for ADA compliance? And what does the biology teacher recommend? Is the biology teacher saying that there's no chance they can accommodate the student? Is it just the building? What exactly is causing this? Next, do I have enough to make a decision? Yes, I do believe there's enough to make a decision on the situation at hand. So number 1, you can choose to do no action. The school will not change its decision to remove Miguel from biology. Miguel will have to take the course that can be accessible by wheelchair and follow all legal documentation to make sure that they are providing an education, not necessarily the best education, but an appropriate education. The highest impact is the school seeks funding to replace all components of the school that is not ADA accessible. They require ADA accessibility for all school activities, and they immediately enroll Miguel back into biology class. Alternative options are to brainstorm, implement ideas about classroom relocation, discuss alternatives such as biology at a college facility, and earn credentials for the course to provide prerequisite credit. So outlining option number 1, that's that no action, the incident has already occurred, there was no change to the schedule that meets the student's needs to graduate, and that there's a chance to face possible legal consequences, but that the school is set that there's no way to offer biology to Miguel. Pros of this is that classroom discussion or disruption is held to a minimum, so there's no moving involved, no classrooms changing, anything like that, and that there are other science courses to fulfill the graduation requirements. Cons: they're more likely to see legal actions imposed on the school, the negative impact on student achievement from Miguel and others that are in support of Miguel, negative community pushback, negative impact on the school and the district, and negative impact on the teachers and administration well-being. So putting them in a situation that does not shine light on them kind of shines a different demeanor on all those teachers, definitely does not create an atmosphere that supports the well-being of all students and staff. Option 2, the highest impact option is to re-enroll Miguel in biology using school funds to pay for the school to be 100% ADA compliant. They allow Miguel to return to school set schedule. The best option for student well-being, shows initiative to prevent the situation from happening again. It allows them to be 100% ADA compliant. One of the biggest things is that it is a major expense, and the time it will take to make those classrooms ADA compliant, or trailers in that case. It could cause financial cuts for other student funding, and spending a large amount of money on older mobile trailer could cause a financial issue with the budgeting committee. Option 3 is to brainstorm with Ms. Gussman, the biology teacher, and the principal, discuss opportunities such as moving course location to meet the need of ADA compliance, quote costs for making a classroom ADA accessible, and contact local colleges for possible learning opportunities on their campus. Pros is that the well-being of the student is the top priority. There's less opportunity for financial hardship, possible college credit courses, and that family student input on the decision-making process. Cons, this process will take time to put into place. It does not improve ADA compliance for the entire Dover High School, and it could cause disruption to student learning if they're having to move classrooms or relocate. I would choose option 3 for this scenario. I believe this option 3 would allow the best opportunities and well-being for all individuals. Using collaboration, teachers can provide opportunities and avenues to meet the needs of to meet the educational needs of all students. It includes opportunities to rearrange the class locations at Dover High School. This would allow the ADA access to the biology class for Miguel and possibly other students. Another avenue is collegiate resources in the area to determine possible learning opportunities. This could include Dover paying transportation fees for Miguel along with other students to another campus to fulfill the needs of course requirements. One problem the solution does not address is ensuring that the situation could arise again and that the building is not 100% ADA compliant, and that could lead to further litigation. The first step in implementation is to arrange meetings with Ms. Gussman and necessary information to begin the process. Schedule meetings with a 504 coordinator, Miguel's parents, and any legal team. This meeting is to allow important stakeholders to provide input as well as establish all needed documentation and data for a plan. Meet with teachers and staff involved in the direct education of Miguel. Use collaboration to find alternative location to hold a biology course, or if there's another course that he would come into contact with. Present opportunities to the administration, school board, and stakeholders. Meet with Mr. and Mrs. Hernandez about classroom relocation opportunities. Implement necessary logistical steps to allow classroom relocation. If another class is able to accommodate Miguel, continue with the process of moving needed resources between the desired classrooms. If the classroom will take place on another campus, it's important to communicate with the budget and transportation to accommodate Miguel. Hold annual 504 IEP meetings to ensure that progress is being made and the services provided for Miguel are effective and appropriate. And addressing school ADA compliance would be set for the board meeting to take place the following year. Implementation continued, so collaboration is vital to solving the problem. There are moving pieces in multiple departments that require communication. Meetings should involve all stakeholders, provide the highest opportunity for student well-being. Saying that, I believe that there should be a meeting somewhere between Ms. Gussman and Mr., in this case, Mr. Wilson, or the principal, that before saying, yes, we can accommodate all students, we need to make sure we go through the right process to ensure that we can do that before promising something we can't hold to. If there are no college opportunities, absolutely no opportunity for relocation. As a school, we must look at finances and the cost to alter infrastructure, as well as consult the legal team to determine legal outcomes. In the event that there's just no way we can make this happen, we cannot change it, we need to understand the legal duties and the legal outcomes and go from there to figure out what we need to do to be legally in the right, if that makes sense. Overcoming this mistake will take a collective effort from all stakeholders. The community must trust the school is doing their best to provide an equitable education for all students. Here is the correlation for this assignment. Here is my reflection for this assignment. Here is my relevance for this assignment. There was no needed resources for this module, but I would like to highlight the importance of being able to follow the necessary steps for an IEP or a 504 plan, and part of that is ensuring that you are able to accommodate all of the students' needs prior to readmitting them back into the school setting. Thank you.